So what type of leader are you? Are you one of those autocratic, army-style, directive, do as I say, micromanaging leaders all about the results? Or are you one of those new age hippie leaders where it's all about the health of the team and the happiness of the team and maybe not so much about the results as long as everyone's having a good time? If you've just started out in managing people, you're probably thinking you've got to pick one camp. You've got to be one or the other. Well, you don't. There are actually 4 styles of leadership that encompass both extremes, and they help you get the best out of your team no matter where they're at with you. So this is called situational leadership, and I'll explain the 4 levels to you today. Why is this important? Well, you may have noticed that everyone's different. You may have noticed that employees, when they're working for you, have different levels of 2 things: their confidence in the job and their competence at the skills for the job. When an employee starts with you at the very beginning, they have high motivation, they're very confident, overconfident potentially, but they lack the skills to do the job well. So the first level of leadership is called directive. That's where you're very much telling them what to do and how to do it and making sure they do it well and checking up on them. And that's okay. A motivated employee is happy to have that because they want to do a good job. Then what happens after the employee has been with you a little while is that they start to understand the scope of the job. They start to understand where they need to be and where they are. So this is where their confidence drops off. They start to feel demotivated because they realize how far they've got to go and maybe thinking the job was a little bit harder than they first thought. So the second style of leadership is called coaching. It's where you are still very directive with the staff member and telling them what to do, but it's more engaging. You're asking for their opinions and their thoughts, and it's more of a 2-way conversation where you provide that support and motivation for the employee so they can keep going and keep improving their competence at the job. The third style of leadership kicks in after the employee has been with you for a little bit longer and their competence starts to improve. You now know they can do the job, but they still don't have the full confidence to run with it on their own. So the directive style backs off a little bit and it's much more supportive. You might say to your employee in this stage, go and research the options and come back and present a decision to me and we'll choose together. That's a supportive style of leadership. The 4th style of leadership and the ultimate ideal that every manager will want to get their staff to is the delegation style. This is where you have the trust in your employee that their competence is high and they have confidence in themselves so their confidence is high as well. This is where you can say to your employee, I trust you to make the decision, just keep me informed. Ideally, this is where all leaders want to get their people to. But we can't just jump ahead when a new employee starts to try and delegate them and expect that they have the trust and confidence in themselves to do the job. Imagine trusting a new starter with like the budget for a marketing campaign. Their confidence will let them have a crack, but they're probably not going to do a very good result for the company if they don't have the skills. And the consequence of not providing enough support in those 2 middle sections means that you will see a decrease in employee retention because when unmotivated staff aren't getting the support they need, they're likely to quit and go and try and find something easier. So the ideal is to move your employees through each of the 4 levels and at each stage to agree with them where they're at in their level of development and agree what style of leadership you're going to be using. This is why it's important not to just assume and do it. This isn't something you do to your employees. It's something that you have an agreement with them and you work together in what's going to motivate them and get the best out of them to help them succeed in their job. And if they succeed in their job, the company succeeds. So I hope this has given you a good helicopter ride of the 4 levels of leadership and how it's important to go through each one of them to get the best out of your employees at all stages of their career with you. If this is something that you want more information of, feel free, comment below and I'll send you the diagram of situational leadership so you can see how it applies to your business.